These are some commercial photography images, and a closer look at them will reveal that each of them was lit with a different amount of lights. This one, for example, is from famous photographer Kyle Taylor, and this was lit with one light. However, this motorbike was lit with about 7 to 8 different lights. What's the point? Most tutorials teach 3-point lighting as the gold standard for product photography, and there is a lot of misinformation when it comes to lighting products. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to recreate this render using product photography techniques and lighting knowledge. My name is Denzel Modest, and I'm a product photographer and 3D artist, and you're going to learn why you should stop using 3-point lighting for product renders. Okay, so just as an example, let's see what happens if we apply the 3-point lighting principle in this scenario. I'm going to press Shift A and add a light, an area light. Alright, so let's say this is our main light. I'm going to just adjust it to how we will put a main light. Alright, so let's put it over there. And now we want to fill the shadows, right? So let's press Shift D and rotate it a bit. And we probably turn down the power, right? So like about half. So this is without the fill light, this is with the fill light. We fill the shadows. And then we want to press Shift D and create a background light to separate the background from the foreground. Well, in this case, there's not much to separate background from foreground. Nevertheless, you see the problems that we end up with. And the reason why is because of the nature of this object, because it's very reflective with the metal part here and the chrome parts here. So this is not what you want to do if you want professional product renders. So let me show you. So let's delete this. So first of all, we're going to add an HDRI just to create some ambient lighting. So I usually use Polyhaven HDRIs. Let's use one. There's one unfinished office. Let's drag this into our scene. We don't want it that bright, and also don't want all these reflections. Let me just adjust this a bit. Let me switch this to the world and adjust this right by 90 degrees. Get rid of those shadows, and let's turn brightness down, probably like -3. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if you look at our image here, in these dark areas, if it wasn't any ambient lighting, this would be completely black, and that would make it look unrealistic. In a previous tutorial, I mentioned that we usually have it totally black, but in this case, because of the reflection, this chrome, the metal reflections, we don't want it completely black. So in this case, we add some ambient light, and that's what's causing it not to be totally black. All right. And so now that is done, let's switch this back to object, shade editor. And we're going to add some lights. And we're going to focus first on the bread slices and then on the toaster. I'm going to be using the Ultimate Studio lights, the Note presets, the premium edition. You could use the free version as well, but I'm using the premium edition because they are a lot more advanced features, and you'll see some in this video. I'm going to just click and drag this into our scene here, and then we get something similar to what we had before. Nice lighting, but we want this only to affect the bread. So what we do, we go to object properties. Let me tool this down, and there's a nice feature here called light linking. We click on new, and we want to link this light only to the bread, the slices. And so I've already created a collection called slices. So just click and drag into this collection, and I've now linked this light to the bread slices. It only affects, if I move it, it only affects the bread. All right. So let me move this and just adjust this to just what we want. So we want some nice highlights to the top to create some nice light and shadows. I'm just going to adjust this here. It will be bright at the top and some shadows here. All right, we could name this, press F2 and name this bread light. And now let's focus now on the toaster. So let's press Shift D, and remember we already linked this light to the slices. So we want to remove this light from linking to the slices. So let's click on this button and to make it a single user copy. And then we're going to remove these slices because we want to now add the toaster alone. So let's click and drag the toaster into this light, and let me rename it. So this is the left light. Usually I press Alt R and Alt G to reset the light. And so then we're going to move it up and adjust the light for this. Let me show you some of the features of this node group. Let me go to render view here, and then if we don't see it, just press home, and let me turn off the bread light so you see. We just focus on this alone. And there's some nice features where we can adjust the gradient here. All right. Not only that, we could even shift the gradient across, but we'll just leave it like that for now. Let me just press 7 for top view and we move it to the left just a bit. Right, so we want a nice gradient on that side. Let's shift it just a bit. If you've reached this far, I'll take a wild guess that lighting products in Blender is where you get stuck. That's exactly why I created 3D Product Lighting Mastery. As a product photographer, I've worked with real businesses and I know the level of quality they expect. In this workshop series, I will walk you through what I call the 3 pillars of lighting, the must-know principles behind clean, professional, high-end renders. Each section includes simple theory followed by hands-on examples in Blender. In less than 2 hours, you'll instantly notice the jump in quality in your renders, and so will your clients. The best part is, I'm continuously adding new workshop videos to help you tackle different lighting challenges as they come up. But that's not all. This is a one-time fee and you get lifetime access. And as a bonus, you automatically get access to the Ultimate Studio Lights Premium Edition. So if you're serious about product rendering in Blender and need quick improvement, click the link in the description to enroll now. Let's get back to the video. Let's do the same for the other side. So press Shift D and we'll name this one right light. And let's press G and X and move this across. But of course, we wanted a different gradient going the other way around. So we just move this to the other side and make this a little thinner. And we're going to adjust this to be on the side. And we don't want this to be the same brightness. We actually want it to be a lot dimmer. We want this to be about half the brightness. So turn this to 5. So this is the main. This is still bright. So let's put it on to 3. That's much better. So let's see what we have by enabling our bread light. So far we are building our lights one by one and we're getting somewhere. So we have our bread, we have the light for the bread, and then we have these nice highlights on the left and right. This front part is pretty dark and also the logo is not illuminated enough. What I want to do for these 2 lights, I don't want these lights affecting the logo. So I have the logo on its own collection. So what I could do, click on the left light and I could drag the logo collection into this and uncheck it. So it's no longer affecting that one. And the same applies to the right because they're both sharing the same data. So now they're not affecting the logo. So let's introduce another light to fill this top part here. I could again press Shift D, press Alt R, Alt G, and let's move this up. G. And we're going to name this one top. And let's turn off these 2 and the bread for now. So let's see. We're going to add a different gradient. This time the inverse dual gradient. And we wanted to go the other way, so rotate it by 90 degrees. Turn that off. This is what we want. Let's see how close it is to the other lights. Let's turn on the right light and the left. It's overlapping the left one, so clearly we need to shift it across. So GX, right, just about there, just about there. All right, let's turn on the bread light. Good. So what we want to do now, we want to affect our logo. So let's turn all these off. And let's duplicate this top one. Let's press Shift D. Right, let's turn off that and rename this one to logo light. And we can adjust this. Actually, first of all, let's click this button and make this a single user copy. Right, now what we could do is remove this toaster from here, and the logo, we want to make sure this is checked because we want this light to affect only the logo. Let me rename that properly. So we can adjust the size of this. All right. And let me show you what gradient we want. So we don't want this gradient. Let's go to let's access it from here. So we could access it from this side here or across here. So let's just access it from here. Instead of the inverse dual gradient, we uncheck that and we go back to our original one. Let's turn on the left light and let's see what happens. So this left light gradient is going from left to right like this. Is faded into here. So now our logo light should complement that. So if I press GX and move this across, show you exactly what is happening. So you're going to see how this light is going to complement this. So we can now adjust exactly how the light falls off to match the one on the left. It's a bit bright, so let's turn the brightness down. Probably like about 1. Good. And then we could now adjust it even further, like just about there. But you see the effect it has as we turn on the other lights. So look what happens now. And so now this makes sense. Let's shift this left light just up slightly across, just about here. Good. So it's a lot clearer as we can see now. All right, and this makes sense. So if you look at the logo light once again, and we adjust it, but keep in mind we have to make it coincide with this left gradient as flowing across here. That's why we created this light to be on its own, so it could do its own thing. And we're pretty much done within Blender. Of course, we take it into GIMP or Photoshop. We can of course enhance it further. But this is how you actually do commercial product renders. So clearly, 3-point lighting, it works in some scenarios, but for commercial professional renders like these, you clearly need to add light strategically to bring out the shape of the object and make the logo pop, create nice highlights and shadows. What would help, of course, is using a node group with features like this as well. In other upcoming videos, you'll see more of the features and how they be used in product renders. Feel free to click on the link below to my Gumroad where you can download the Ultimate Studio Lights Premium Edition. And also there's a link to get access to professional training for product lighting in Blender. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.